Welcome back to the Four Rings Inn for another A City of Shadows. Last, we left our homebrew campaign in the world of Ethereum. Our highborns, particularly Renshaw, survived our first encounter with the depraved.
Yay!
Hey!
You didn't die!
We'd love that for episode 4. We got everyone from episode 1 is still here. Episode 4. Yet Renshaw survived, and not only survived, but also started doing some research on the materials he found in his grandsire's chest. We met Patrice Dayborn, the investigator from the Ashen Order, who both agreed to investigate the murder in Quillen Keep, and also keep it quiet for them.
So he can write about it in his book.
Yeah.
In his upcoming novel.
Definitely has nothing to do with the fact that he needs this to be his book and can't let it get out that it was like his stuff. Yeah. Nothing, not related to that.
Original content.
Exactly. Eleanor got to go downtown and get some gossip about her party and about some other the lords and ladies around town. With some excellent gossip checks.
Everyone loved it. It was a smash hit.
It was a hit. Everyone loved it. The elves were a little snooty, but what can you expect? And then Oriana had a meeting with Count Stoneworth about some of the, I don't want to say illegal, because like the Count is the law, right? But some less than legal comings and goings of exotic goods in the city. And the night ended with our 3 highborns meeting up at Starlight Brews, all getting on the same page before dispersing for the evening. With that being said, are you ready for a scary story?
Ooh.
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 Before the sun rises on Thalia this day, the counts and highborns begin to rise to get ready for the ceremony of bells, a ceremony set to take place at dawn's first light. As our 3 highborns awaken, they are all greeted with some mail that has reached them first thing in the morning. Miss Eleanor, I'm going to send you some mail.
Okay.
And let's get that over to you right now. And if you want to read it out for the audience.
I'm sitting in my tea room with Maricel, the governor, and we're just going over our daily plans like we do each day so I can get updates on the estate dealings.
Perfect. All right. Eleanor, you have your letter.
I hope this letter finds you well, Count Heir Eleanor Quillen. Although I hold the title of Lead Ranger of the Grim Watch, I regard the friendship held with your grandmother in even higher esteem. I'm contacting you at the behest of your father, Lord Pierre Quillen, with a proposition. The details of my proposition are complicated in such a manner that I worry my composition may be insufficient in expressing my intent. I humbly request an audience with you at your convenience. Graciously, Lead Ranger Yanis Gore.
You do not recognize this name as someone you know personally, but the Grimwatch are the guild of rangers that protect the outskirts of the city as well as the venture into the Vermore forest when necessary to protect Blacksbane citizens. And so Lead Ranger... Yeah?
Is my grandmother alive?
She is not.
Okay.
She probably would have passed away based on gnomes' long lifespans. Mm-hmm. Probably fairly recently, within the last decade, I would imagine.
Okay.
But she is currently not still living.
That ranger was really articulate, and I really appreciated that. But it was a lot of words to say. I don't want to write this down.
It was a lot of words to say. Can we meet up?
Can we meet? Is that okay?
Interesting.
Yes. So you get this letter. Is there anything Eleanor would like to do getting ready for the ceremony of the bells? You know that you don't have a part in the actual ceremony, but securing balcony seats from Kier and from the Fairchilds, you will be visible to a large crowd of citizens. So it's a public appearance, but you're not like speaking or doing anything.
Is Kier coming as well?
Yes, you're Kier and your mother.
We're all going. Okay. I think I will put on a dress in whatever the house colors of the Fairchilds are, kind of as like as a show of gratitude for getting to use their balcony seat.
Absolutely.
And I would like to pen a letter to Oriana, just to kind of confirm what we kind of talked about the night before, but to have her meet Renshaw and I at Bitter Cottage, the cafe, after the ceremony of bell ends, so that way we can kind of plan our day after that. I don't think I'm gonna say anything back to the ranger yet, because he said an audience at my convenience, and I think I'm gonna wait until we have a little bit more plans for our day.
Yeah, perfect.
Until it's more convenient for me.
Yes. Until I really just want to fit him in my schedule. But I'm going to want to talk to Kier first.
Dear, absolutely. Cool. Excellent. Yes, darling. What can I do for you?
I just got a note from Ranger Yanis Gore. He said that you might have sent him my way.
I certainly was able to talk to him. It turns out, while you were at Scrollspire, I learned that he was a family friend of your grandmother's. She, when she was still working, especially when she was going back and forth between here and Ethra's Grove, apparently she had some select rangers that she would keep on hand as protection for her caravan. And Yanis Gore was her, not only her pick every time, but also she helped him gain his place as lead ranger. They were apparently very close, and I reached out to him while you were at Scrollspire. I will inform you that I don't believe your mother knows that I've reached out to him, because I saw your drawings and sketches of the depraved and how interested you were, and so I thought if I reached out to the rangers to get you some opportunities to expand that. I know how much that passion was for you, and so I wanted to maybe a coming home present, say, for you, was to get you safely and extremely safely a first-hand look at the things you want to be.
A first-hand look? I thought he was simply going to describe it to me. They might take me into the woods?
I do not know what Yanis Gore has planned, but I requested that if an opportunity arose where we could, again, as safely as possible, allow you to see the subject.
Papa, this is just too kind. And I'll run over and peck each side of his cheek. That is so exciting.
I'm being a count. I see your mother is so much work. There's rarely time to explore your passions, and I know that you're doing such a good job at growing into this role as count, but I don't want you to forget that your mother will be count for quite a number of years, and this is your time to explore your passions. This is the time. And so if an opportunity arises that lets you fulfill that urge and get fulfillment from your art and from experiencing those experiences. Take it at every turn.
That is so splendid, Papa. You know, if I do get this, I think it will make my portfolio so unique that I will absolutely be able to get into one of the art academies.
Who
After
else?
the war and everything, of course, but
Oh, of course. The depraved, as far as I am aware, is unique to Vermore. And right now, Dahlia is also unique to Vermore. So you will have some of the only, and may I say, the best drawings and sketches and interpretations of these creatures in all of Etheria.
that is so exciting. And I just heard the other day that they think that perhaps the war will be over by winter. I could be setting sail this time next year.
As much as it pains me to hear you leave.
Just for a little.
Well, of course. But I remember that excitement and thrill of leaving House Rember. And let me tell you, there's nothing like it. And again, as much as it saddens me to imagine you leaving, nothing makes me happier than to know that you'd feel that feeling that I got. And so...
Thank you, Papa.
Of course, of course.
All right, now, I think that perhaps one of your servants could help tidy you up a little for the ceremony?
Yes. Now that we're in the balcony seats, everybody's going to see us. We're going to be there for a while. Have to bring extra handkerchiefs to... It's still hot out for the summer. I'll be sweating like a pig up there. But it'll be fine. Your mother will be happy, and that is what matters.
It will be a perfect portrait of a handsome family.
Excellent. That is all we can ask for. And he squeezes your hand and leaves the room.
I think just internally, Eleanor is a little terrified about this interaction with the depraved now that the shit has gone down, and she doesn't want to be associated with the depraved anymore. And she wanted for so long to see one to draw it, but now that this crime scene occurred in her home, she's like, fuck. My bad. Actually,
it's my bad. Timing's a bitch, you know? That's rough.
But then I will get ready to head out.
Perfect. Just down the street, still on Nightingale Avenue, Lord Renshaw, you arrive to a letter of your own, and I realize that is the letter to Eleanor. To you.
What's Renshaw doing this morning? Is
Renshaw.
he excited for the ceremony of bells?
Renshaw has woken up far earlier than he's used to. He has plodded out of bed, opened the door, and there was a letter in front of the door.
Plotted is such a good vocab word for...
Thank you.
Yeah, that's excellent.
It's the sound his feet make as they solemnly walk.
If we were playing a lighter campaign, I would give you inspiration for plot.
Thank you.
Yeah. But we're not, so you don't get it.
But we're not, so you don't get that.
We're not.
Easy.
But to postpone getting ready even further, he will immediately read this letter.
Excellent.
Post haste. As soon as I can find it. There we go. Oh. You know, when you wake up and your eyes haven't quite adjusted.
A couple blinks.
Greeting, Lord Renshaw. It has been too long. I hope your time at Scrollspire treated you more fairly than it did to me. I have been busier than I thought possible since we last parted. Do you remember how we used to speak of opening up a shop for gaming sets and the sorts? Well, it turns out the citizens of Thalia have been quite desperate for discretions. Is that a word?
I think it's supposed to say distractions.
Distractions since the war began.
Oh yeah, it definitely doesn't say distractions.
Stop by Red Raven Ave sometime and see the fruits of our childhood musings. Cheers, old friend, Jacques Warrican.
and you recognize Jacques Workin as an acquaintance from Ravenwell Prep, the formal school that you went to. Jacques is a cousin of the Warwick family, the Counts. He himself is not like a Count or in the immediate Count family, but his family is still connected to the name. There's probably like he would have the opportunity to be like a Lord of Law or Lord of Coin if he wanted to. It's still noble enough to go to Scrollspire, but not an immediate Count, and technically even like lower in position than a Viscount, being far enough away from the Count family, but still a friend from Ravenwell.
That's fun. What a fantastic marketing strategy. He called me friend, and he made me feel bad if I don't go. Seeing this distraction that this letter was, it is entirely irrelevant to today's proceedings, and so he will set it aside and continue to get ready. Ideally, it would have been a letter stating that the event had been postponed because the bell was no longer being retired. That would have been like...
That's
We're
ideal.
keeping her in another 5 years.
If I could go back to sleep today, that would be... If they would even just be like, hey, we're actually... The bell's good until noon. Like, we actually don't...
Yeah.
It'll get us till noon. We can last till then.
Yeah,
Like a kid looking for the 2-hour delay.
But like in July. Like, you know it's not coming. But you're still hoping that the school cancels because of snow.
That's funny. Maybe it will cancel. That's so funny. Excellent. Is there anything else Renshaw would like to do before the ceremony?
No, Renshaw's just gonna get ready. He waited until the last minute to wake up, and he even wasted 2 reading that letter. He's just gonna get ready, we'll finish up, and he'll probably be heading out.
Perfect. Across town, in the barracks, we find Oriana. As you awaken, you are actually greeted by a couple letters. One is from Eleanor, informing you that they'll be meeting at the Bitter Cottage after the ceremony of the bells, and request your presence to meet up. The other 2 are here.
So Oriana probably is already awake and walking back to her room with like a towel like draped on her shoulder, and she probably like greets the courier like at her door who's dropping off the letters and like takes them before they leave. Like she was not in her room. She's already up and gets them before she's in her room.
Deal.
So my letter says, "Good morning, Cloak Lunaris. I have an appointment this morning to speak with the Grim Watch about tracking missing pets in the city. Plan to follow up on our other leads in the meantime, and we'll reconvene tomorrow. Take good notes, Enforcer Dayborn." And then my second note just says, "We should meet soon, just to check in. Your friend, Chimet."
You are well aware of Chimet being a priest of Amira within the Enlightened, a mentor that you've had since childhood, since you were part of the Guiding Flame, a teacher, a mentor, and really a guide for you going through your priestship and eventually to scionship until this past summer, moving to the Ashen Order. When do you think is the last time you saw Chimet?
Probably a month ago.
A month ago? Perfect. Excellent. And you have those 2 letters. If I may ask, what is Oriana coming back from that she's up so early in the morning?
Oriana had woken up very early in the morning, before the sun was even close to rising, grabbing her Vignacci mat and her mace bell and taking them outside towards the training the training grounds. She knows that no one is awake yet at this time because she knows that the guard training doesn't begin until sunrise. And so she has at least like an hour before anyone else starts waking up. She lays her mat out, takes off her shoes, and begins Vinyasa practice as I do every single morning. Vinyasa is like a system of breathing and moving, and it's something that's been practiced for generations at the Temple of Amira. And so I begin with my talo, flow of movements of like lunges and twists and folds and stretching, and swinging the mace spell like slowly and with precision and control to follow through with the body, slowly breathing each movement into the next. And then I would like to use one of my rage abilities. And I feel myself overcome with the primal anger and the uncanny reflexes and strength. But I'll continue my towel without making any landing attacks. I know that the rage dissipates. And then I start my second tallow. A new series of movements similar to the first, but strengthening and strengthening new and different muscles. And then I would like to use my second point of rage. Again, letting it overcome and then dissipating without making any landing attacks. And finally, I'll practice my third tallow of the morning, using my final rage and exhaust myself for the day. And I finish my Vinyasa practice with a seated moment of silence and like inner meditation. And before leaving my mat, I will grab from my pocket letter number 6 from Renshaw, and I'll read it, and then I'll put it back away. I'll clean up my space and prepare for morning training with the guard. And as I head back to my room, I receive these wonderful letters.
Perfect. Lots of letters for Oriana today.
Lots of letters.
Actually, the letter 6 arrived weeks ago. She just chose to read it today.
That's true. That was a choice.
Yeah, I read 4 letters this morning before the sun had even risen.
That's a lot. That's a lot of reading. Perfect. Excellent. Yep, you get these letters, and Oriana, by the behest of Enforcer Dayborn, is sort of relieved of her normal Ashen Order duties in order to follow up on this investigation, kind of giving you a little bit of free reign to do what you need to do with both the other highborns or by yourself today, and then meet up with him tomorrow. With that, the black shadows of winged gargoyles skate through the streets as the sun begins to rise over Thalia. Citizens shuffle to Maeve's Beacon, the second pyre of Thalia. Here, the crowds gather along a large courtyard with lots of buildings up to 3-4 stories that all overlook this big courtyard. And in the center is a magnificently large bell that has been taken down from its tower and set up on stands about 2 or 3 feet above the ground. Next to it are 2 equally large objects that have been covered in blue and gold sheets. The people within the courtyard, aside from the crowd and kind of keeping the crowd controlled, are cloaks of the Ashen Order, but going around and greeting people as they move in and the crowd gets settled is a tall but very handsome tiefling man. He has deep red skin and 2 thick horns that come out of his forehead that curve ever so slightly towards the crown of his head. Unlike the rest of the priests in the Ashen Order present, his robes are not Colorian blue and gold, but the royal black and white of House Blacksbane. The charisma and the presence of High Priest Ilion cannot be ignored. As everyone moves in, Eleanor, you find yourself, you are on the third story balcony of Thalia Hall, which is the opera house of Thalia and a headquarters for the Hearths Guild, which is, and you are up there with the Fairchild family. Renshaw, you find yourself on the ground floor, but in a private patio of the Trove, a very fancy bookstore at the outskirts of the Emerald Market. You are there with the Viscounts Kimbridges and the Adairs are here in this private... Jake's face changing immediately killed me. You find yourself in this private patio to watch the ceremony.
I just lean over to Bray and whisper, "Do you see him down there? Look how handsome he looks today."
I cannot miss him. The red, it stands out. It's, oh my goodness. All these people, and my eyes are only on him.
Oh, only for him. It almost makes me wish that we had lower seats, just so we could be near him.
Just to be a little closer. She just started.
But these are fantastic.
Yes. Father was so excellent to be able to get us seats here. And you see Kier kind of beside you kind of grumbles, and he goes, "It's going to be forever until we get out of here." But it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. As he's talking, you hear High Priest Ilion. His voice begins to boom thunderously as he enhances his voice and says, "Greetings, strong and blessed citizens of Thalia. Our city is home to many wonders. The mighty Iron Falls, a force of nature in perfect balance with our civilization. Greywall Castle, Castle of the North, a testament to our ancestors' resilience and fortitude. And the Bells of Abundance." And he puts his hand on the large bell next to him. "Gifted us by Amira's chosen in our city's very infancy." As he is speaking, Eleanor, your passive perception is very high. So you notice, as the ceremony is beginning, on the outskirts of the crowd, making their way from your left and then moving closer in vaguely towards the building that you're in, just on the outskirts of the crowd, there's a figure that's kind of pushing and moving their way through the crowd. Not uncommon. What really catches your eye is that deep maroon cloak that they have draped over your shoulders that is identical to something that you saw just a few days ago, or just yesterday, in your study.
Not wanting to cause a scene, I'm just going to continue to track them and kind of keep my focus on them for a bit to see what they do.
Perfect, absolutely. You see they shift and they move. They end up stopping and talking to three people. It looks like between humanoids or dwarfs, based on their you can see the back of their head based on their height, their hair, the facial hair. Maybe humans, maybe dwarves. And then they continue to move on and are slowly but hastily making their way towards either the street that's like behind you or towards Dahlia Hall itself. That's kind of the direction.
When they stopped and talked, could I see anyone's face?
You were not able to see a face.
Okay. And not the people they were talking to? I didn't see their faces.
That's a good point. Give me a perception check.
Oh, fuck.
It can't be that bad. Don't you default to a 20?
She defaults to a 15.
No, that's my passive.
Which is good. Real good.
It's a 9. I rolled a 2.
Oh.
But I will say, I have the observant feature, so if I could make out their face, I can perfectly read their lips.
Oh, very interesting. I will say that you are not able to see the person in the cloak. You cannot see their face. You can see the person they talk to. One of them turns their head. It's a human male, and you can read their lips, and they say, okay, we'll keep an eye on them. And then they say, nothing rash. The person in the cloak leaves, and then the person that you're reading the lips, you see them roll their eyes and then go back to looking.
Once the cloak person has walked a little bit off, where are these people that they were talking to sitting?
These people are, let's see, they are, if you're looking at the crowd, they're about a quarter of the way into the crowd and like almost directly in front of your balcony.
And it's just like commoners seating?
Yeah, it's just commoners. Okay. Yep. Yeah, they actually don't even have seats. They're standing. But yeah,
chairs are for the rich.
Is the ceremony has started?
Yes, the ceremony is like this is the official beginning of the ceremony, and you see, like even on the outskirts of this crowd, there are still people like moving to do their daily business. Like not everyone is stopping for this ceremony, but as soon as you get near this courtyard, you are respectful. Like nobody's chatting. Like you're aware that there's an event here, but there are still some people like coming in and out of shops or moving around on the very outskirts. But anyone like in Maeve's Beacon is part of the ceremony.
And the red cloak is like leaving my vision.
Yes, they're coming like closer and closer to where like the edge of the balcony would block your view.
The Red Cloak. That sounds like a great name. The Red Cloak.
I think I'm just gonna like excuse myself for a second, like say I have to go to the bathroom.
Sure.
And try to see if I can like get out to like street level or somewhere where I can try to re-find them.
Yeah, absolutely. You're gonna start kind of going back through Dahlia Hall, moving downstairs, and give me another perception check. While you do this check, you can hear your pre-roll was so good.
I know, and I just rolled another 2.
Oh,
better than a 1.
It is better.
It's still a 9, but that's shit.
It's a fuck ton better than a 1.
As you're going down the stairs, you can hear High Priest Ilion's voice continue on, and he says, "Now, I don't mean to bore you all. I know that there have been a handful of these ceremonies in the last few months, but these bells are special. They have watched us grow from a tenacious village to a thriving city. They have seen us through our best times and through our worst times. They warned our ancestors as the depraved scaled and clawed their way up the north wall. They've rung out at our weddings. They've welcomed our soldiers home from the wars of Seven Peaks, and they have rung out at our funerals. These bells are beautiful and powerful, and they deserve our reverence. As he is saying this, Eleanor, you get to the ground floor. You are able to see the person in the red cloak. By the time you catch them with your perception, they're past Thalia Hall, and so you can only see the back of their head. With your observant feature, I will say that you're able to make out, based on like their body type and by their hair, you would expect this person to either be a woman or an elf. They have a very slender frame and long hair. You
What
see
color
them.
hair?
Yep, long. They have long. It's like a light brown hair. And they
Rolls out half the city.
Yeah, that's true. You see they move and they dip into they move into actually they go down the street a little bit, and then they go into the bell tower where this bell that's being retired originally was kept, and they go into there.
How long would it take me to get there?
It would take you a minute, maybe two, to go down and go through the crowd. The only downside is you're moving through the crowd of peasants.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go back up to the balcony, but I'm gonna try to. Could I see the bell tower from the balcony spot, or is it too far behind me?
No, you are able, from where your balcony is, you could see the tower. Yep.
Okay, so then I want to go back to my seat because I don't want to be gone too long and cause a stir.
Sure.
But I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be watching more the bell tower to see if I can see anything, like if they get to the top, the big open-y spot, or if I see them leave at the bottom.
Gotcha. Perfect. I love it. You're keeping an eye out on the bell tower. As you are doing this, Renshaw, with your passive perception, you are able to notice in the crowd, as you're watching High Priest Ilion do this, your eyes are caught by two young men standing in the crowd. They're kind of halfway through. They're over 100 feet from you. But as you kind of get bored and your eyes drift across the crowd, you lock eyes with them as these two guys are looking right at you.
I'm way too tired for this.
High Priest Ilion continues. This bell of abundance has had a wonderful life, but has nonetheless run its course. Fear not, the station of this bell shall not go unmanned. Viscount Thornstrom, and he kind of motions to one of the front row of the crowd, Viscount Thornstrom has been working tirelessly to cast and carve these beautiful bells for New Elsport and for Thornley to replace the retired bells of abundance. Count Atwood, and he calls up the elf, who rises from his seats and begins to approach High Priest Ilion. Because Count Atwood, if you would do the honors and unveil the first of the bells of renewal. And you see as they Viscount Thornstrom stands up and kind of like nods to the crowd and takes like a small bow. Viscount Thornstrom is a slim and balding man, a balding human, standing behind Count Atwood. He looks like a man who has been taught proper posture and has failed every lesson. He's wearing nice clothes, but his shoulders are just kind of hunched, and his hair is kept, but also somehow just kind of like ratty and a little disturbing. Like old age did not get to him well. And you see in front of him is in complete contrast, Count Atwood, who is, although in his getting up into his later years as an elf, looks not a day over 60. Like he looks in shape. His hair is beautifully clean, beautifully kept, and these two men like could not be more different standing next to each other. And they pull the sheets away from these two beautiful golden bells, each depicting a scene from the city's history. Though one of them shows the emerald market and people trading and people coming to the city from not only Calidor but all over Ethereum. And then the other bell shows a depiction of a hearth and people telling stories around a fire, and that culture and lineage of Dahlia, of their hearths and of their storytelling. These two beautiful bells are revealed. Eleanor, as this happens, you notice in the bell tower the hooded head, that maroon cloak, peeks up over the top of the bell tower where the bell would normally sit.
Mm-hmm.
And you see they pull out a telescope, stretch it out, and they look across the city towards... Actually, you could see it from here. They are looking right at the steeple of the biggest cathedral, Asphodel Cathedral, in Dahlia.
Okay.
This is exciting.
Can I see? Are they too far away, or can I see their face now?
You are not able to see their face from this angle. You can tell it is definitely the same maroon cloak and definitely the same.
Yeah. I'll look over at the steeple. I don't know if I'm gonna see anything without a telescope.
Yeah, your eyes are between her and the steeple for sure. Give me one more perception check.
Okay. I also would like to look down at the guys.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, that's better. That is an IKEA 20.
Perfect. With your IKEA 20, you see that you're gonna keep good watch over this woman in the bell tower. You look down and you see these the two men. The third person of their party had walked away at some point during your travel up and down the stairs. But these two men are not looking at High Priest Ilion. You look at their eyes, you look at where their heads are, you follow their eye line, and they are looking directly at Renshaw.
Mm-hmm.
Or Denise.
Or Denise.
Okay.
They are watching Renshaw.
How long is the ceremony of bells? What
It's
generally?
probably gonna be another 10 minutes. It's not super
Oh,
long.
okay.
You hear High Priest Ilion's voice again, echoes through the beacon, and he says, "Truly wonderful. The bells are a masterpiece and will bring much joy to our wonderful city. And now brings us to the solemn rite of retiring this bell of abundance. This bell in particular is engraved with the merchant and represents how our kinship and loyalty to each other has allowed us to prosper. May it ring out one last time with its brothers and sisters." And you see he reaches back and takes a rope that is on the ground. Dong, dong, and begins to ring the bell. And after the first couple rings, you hear dong, dong across the entire city. All the bells, not just the bells of abundance, but every bell in the city begins to ring harmoniously together. And Oriana, although you are not present, you do hear all the bells in the city begin to ring. As that happens, I need Eleanor and Renshaw to make wisdom saving throws for me.
Well,
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
wisdom. Ooh, I am wise.
12.
14.
Excellent. The bells begin to ring, and you watch High Priest Ilion touch the bell to be retired. And as he does, little like golden sparks skip from his fingers onto the bell. They fill in the cracks, they fill in the engravings, and the engravings pull off the bell and begin to float over and around the crowd. You see he brings to life the images on the bell of a merchant coming to the city, trading goods. He gives bread and cheese to elderly. He hands out toys to children. Then at the end of this spectacle, he gets in a large caravan and waves to the people of Dahlia as the caravan moves off towards the rising sun. You two, however, don't really watch this beautiful magical display.
Oh, you mean we failed?
As the bell begins to ring, you start to listen, like really listen to the bell. You couldn't tell visually what makes this bell something to be retired. But as soon as it starts ringing and you start to listen, you feel it in your stomach that something is not right with this bell, not like the other bells. You can feel the reverberations of the bells across the city, but it's like there's an extra sound with this bell. It's like the vibrations are not smooth, as if warped metal has warped the air and is now warping your skin and your bones and your heart. And as that passes through and over you, Renshaw, you start to pick up on that like second sound. And it gets louder and louder and louder. And you don't know how you know it, but you can hear all around you the screams of Lucille Splotchins, her mouth not attached to her tongue removed, and just the bloody, gurgling last screams of life are all you can hear and all around you. At the same time, Eleanor, as you are sitting and you are feeling that same perversion of noise, you pick up on that second noise, and it calls to you. Eleanor. Eleanor. It sounds like it's far behind you. And even as you kind of turn your head, because you're watching the people on the ground, you're watching the bell tower, you're watching the steeple, you hear that. Eleanor. And it is... You have a good memory, and you are good with people. And it is not a voice you have ever heard before. And as it calls out, you are too far away from the Asphodel Cathedral to really see what's going on. But you see something in the bell tower of Asphodel Cathedral, which you would know also holds a bell of abundance. Not every cathedral does, but Asphodel Cathedral does hold a bell. Something large moves within the bell tower. Not the bell that's swinging, but something else shifts in there, skitters in there. Before that sound, the Eleanor calls out to you. And as it grows around you, the sound is suddenly cut as High Priest Ilion reaches back his hand, which starts at like his heart, but this like yellow golden light glows throughout his hands, comes up, his hand turns white, and then crackles once with like white lightning, and then he goes "Rah!" and strikes the bell once, singularly on the side. Toom! The bell cracks. The warped metal flexes. The sound echoes throughout the plaza, and then all the bells for the city begin to die out. The bell being split, he takes a deep breath. This bell of abundance has served its purpose and has done our city well. May it rest now, never to ring again, not for our ill will, but for our reverence to it. May it know peace, and may it know rest. And the crowd begins to clap and cheer, and you, both of you, feel that like extra noise vanish immediately as soon as the bell is halted, is broken.
Are those two guys still looking at me?
You, Renshaw, give me a perception check for me. And Eleanor, with your insight, you look around and you notice that there are quite a few people in the crowd and also quite a few, like a handful of people on your balcony that also look a little shaken. Like they're not quite, you don't really know if they heard what you heard, but they also don't look happy. Like they know that was part of the ceremony, but it feels like the bell didn't just touch you. You feel like somebody else felt what that was.
Yeah.
But you know that only you heard your name.
Good. I'm glad the whole city didn't hear my name.
Everyone's like, who the fuck is Eleanor?
Who is? No, everyone knows my fucking name.
That's true. You're right. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Like, oh, Eleanor.
Put some respect on my name, John. Yeah, I am a fucking town.
You're absolutely right. And with that, a few prayers to the Ascended of Calidor and to the Novem conclude the ceremony of the bells. Renshaw, what did you roll for your perception?
17.
Ooh. You see those two, the two people that were watching you were still looking at you up until the bell was rung, in which case they both turned around and left to go, what looks like walk towards the Emerald Market.
Okay. Cool.
And I got a good look at their faces as well, right?
Yes. You will be able to recognize those two gentlemen if you see them again. I did not know that Observant had that much stuff. That was sweet. You got me good on that. You also look back, and the woman in the bell tower, is not there anymore. She has gone back down.
Do I see her in the crowd?
You did not see her come out of the bell tower.
And the ceremony's over?
Yep, the ceremony is over. People begin to shuffle out of the out of Maeve's Beacon and begin to disperse back through the city.
I want to give whatever to my family and thank the Fairchilds for letting us be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then just be like, oh, I have brunch set up with Oriana, of the Ashen Order, whatever. But instead of going and meeting up with Renshaw, I want to go to that bell tower.
Yeah, sure.
And just take a little peek-see.
Yeah, you peek in. Give me an investigation check.
And I'm trying to go a little on the stealthy side, as stealthy as my noble character can be. She's not hiding in the shadows.
Yeah.
But in case the cloaked figure is still in there.
Of course. Yep. Yeah, give me a stealth check as well.
Okay. My investigation is a 17.
Ooh.
And a 25 on stealth.
Wow. Okay. Nobody spots you going in or out. You don't get harassed at all by any of the townsfolk or the peasants. You are in here and out. You go in. You look around this bell tower. You see there's not much in here. It's mostly just a structure for the bell. There's some tools and cleaning supplies to maintain the bells, and there's the staircase that leads up to the top of the tower. You look around on a 17 investigation. Beneath the stairwell, you find some loose boards. You move them aside, and you find that maroon cloak that has been folded up and tucked under the stairs. You also see not one but two maroon cloaks.
Is there anything on them, any other additional identifying materials? Stitching or something in a pocket, that kind of thing. I want to tussle through them.
You pull up on that 17 investigation. You pull it out. You're kind of looking at it. There is nothing in the pockets. There's nothing identifying on it. However, as you're touching it, as you're feeling it, you're not a super. You're not in. I don't want to say it. You're not a master of the trade in fashion and in tailoring in sewing. Yeah. But you've been around it your whole life, and you are very comfortable with it. You start touching this, and you have no idea what it's made out of. It's nice, it's very nice material, but you're I've never felt this before. It's almost like silk. It's smooth, but it's not silk. You've touched silk, you know what that feels like, and it's not this. And as you're feeling it, there's a slight tinge of magic to it. This cloak, both these cloaks are enchanted. And you can feel that they are, the material is nothing that you've ever seen tailored before.
Okay. I want to put them back and return the floorboard.
Yeah, deal.
And then before I go, I don't know if I saw anything else with my investigation, but I want to go to the top and kind of look out from the bell tower in the direction of the cathedral. Kind of like how I saw the red cloak doing it. I want to just kind of mimic those to see from this other vantage point what they were seeing.
Yeah, you look out. You actually have a pretty similar view here to what you did on the balcony. And on your investigation, as you look around, you don't notice anything extra with the bell tower, with the cathedral tower. It looks the same. You don't see anything moving in there. It looks normal. However, as you look around, you realize that the balcony that you're on, the bell tower that you're currently in, and then maybe one other building near the Emerald Market are the only 3 buildings around here that you could get a view of the cathedral like you do right now. Everything else is covered by the buildings.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, I will go back out and try to meet up with Renshaw. I figure I probably knew around where he was.
Yeah, you would have seen, you saw him, you would have known he was in the Trove, and you're able to meet up with him, no problem.
And kind of get there, be like, Renshaw, would you like to go to the Bitter Cottage? I'm meeting up with Oriana.
Yeah, sure.
And then as I take his arm and we start walking off in that direction, I just want to get up on my toes because I'm so much shorter, and whisper to him and be like, someone is on to us. Someone watched us.
On to us about what? You're just paranoid. We didn't do anything.
And yet there were eyes.
People are always watching us. We're people of power.
Not quite like this.
With
And then,
yeah. With that, as you guys move to your brunch meeting with Oriana, we are going to take a quick break as the ceremony of bells is concluded, and we have to plan the rest of our day. But we'll be right back for the rest of City of Shadows.
Now, I'm not afraid of death at all. In fact, I can't wait to die.
No hell, no. Hey, beware. I don't care how big your eyes get, play, it's not going down. All right.
Welcome to the world of Ethereum.
A world that was built around a cataclysmic event known as the Convergence, when the realms began to converge with one another and destroy the mortal realm. A group of 9 heroes known as the Novems stopped the force and ascended into godhood. As society rebuilt, the year was reset to 0 and a universal calendar was formed around the destruction of the old world.
New gods, known as the Ascended, walked among the mortals of the realm, interacting with them and shaping the birth of a new society, starting with the ancient cities that survived, as well as assisting in the construction of new cities. Their involvement left behind evidence of their greatness and power. These cities are now considered touched cities and are epicenters for religion. Yet the new gods' might and aura was too great for this realm. The gods withdrew, allowing mortals to govern their own destinies and reach ascension as well. However, they still watch over and protect from the ascent.
The Ascended brought new magic to the world, ascension magic that was formed from the Convergence. This is the well of magic that fuels the gods and then can be gifted or cursed to other mortals. However, the world of Ethereum was already familiar with magic, as some are born with archaic magic, originating from the natural chaos within the realms and embedded within the ley lines. Over time, Ethereans honed a third magic through the manipulation of runes onto the natural resource of siphons found deep within Ethereum. This runic magic is wielded and imbued into artifacts by anyone who is armed with a spheric focus and willing to learn its language.
Aetherian's people feature all manner of races and culture intertwined with each other across the land. People were forced to come together after the destruction of their homes to rebuild anew. Our world is full of stories and adventure, of comedy and of tragedy. So, please join us at the inn for a tale or two, and welcome to Aetherian.
Welcome back to City of Shadows. Our 3 highborns just finishing up their eventful morning. I would call that eventful. Eventful morning have gone to the Bitter Cottage to meet up and reconvene and plan out how they're going to spend the rest of this beautiful day, 23rd of Maiar. But we find ourselves in a Bitter Cottage. It is a cafe that is in... Where's the Bitter Cottage? It is on the edge of Darlington. And you meet up. And it's this beautiful, like, open-air cafe where you can see the Serpentine River flowing by, right nearby. And then during the winter, they close off the outside part and they are able to, like, light fires on the inside and set it to be an indoor cafe. But for now, with the weather still nice, they are taking every day they can that is good enough weather to still be outdoors. But there's still an indoor seating that has nice and private locations for those nobles who are looking to have conversations more clandestine. And I'll turn it over to our highborns as they are seated and served their brunch.
So how was your morning?
Well, how was the ceremony of the bell?
Odd. So
Do tell.
there was a cloaked figure within the crowd wearing the exact same maroon cloak like we found on Lucille. Huh?
Lucille. Yep, you're right.
What was her name? Lucille?
Yep.
Okay.
Lucille.
And then I went into the tower afterwards and I found 2 of these maroon cloaks like shoved underneath the floorboards. But strangest of them all, when the bells were ringing, I this is gonna sound so odd, but I got like sick to my stomach and it felt like someone was saying my name.
I heard screaming. This is probably why they retire the
Screaming?
bells.
And when I looked around, it looked like other people were uncomfortable. I don't know if my name and screaming is what everyone else heard.
Probably not.
Oh, and the maroon cloak person, they stopped and they were speaking to these men who mouthed that they were gonna keep an eye on someone, and then I caught them staring at Renshaw.
Oh yeah, I saw those guys. I thought they just thought I was attractive.
What would they
No,
want with you? Why were they staring at you? Do we know who they are?
I had no idea. But they were speaking to this cloaked figure who, I mean, obviously is a part of whatever was left, or a part of something that Lucille had been a part of.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they would know that we were the ones, especially that Renshaw was the involved in what happened with Lucille, though.
Well, they left the Tearfall banner. I mean, I'm sure they intended for me to be involved at some point.
That is true. So they have the same cloaks multiple cloaks. You found a couple of them. So this is an organization. This is a group of people. This is no longer an isolated event. They left the Tyrval banner, and now they're following Renshaw.
Leave it to the Ashen Order to shout conspiracy.
I mean, what would you call it?
Oh, conspiracy, you're not wrong. I just, you said it first.
I want to know what the runes on the banner that they left, the Tyrval banner, were. Because they're not the runes that are on your typical... on your coat of arms. I just don't understand what they mean. I want to figure out what they are.
Perhaps they just don't actually speak Runic and couldn't remember what was on my banner, so they just wrote a bunch of runes based off memory.
But isn't that odd? That the ritual or whatever was left in my mama's study reeked of the Moors and archaic magic, and yet there was this intention placed on runes and runic magic. I mean, I know both are banned in the city and can cause... Just watching John.
That's a good point.
Cause the depraved to come. But I just... Why do the witches have an attachment to these runes? Change them.
That's what I'm hoping to find out. Maybe we can find something to translate them, and maybe it'll give a name to this organization, or at least another clue. Like, I'm hoping it at least spells out something that'll give us a lead on how to find this group. Whoever these people are wearing these maroon cloaks.
Sure. Where do we find a runic to Calorian dictionary in Blacksbane?
I think, Oriana, you mentioned last night about stopping at the Temple of Ryan, and the maroon cloak that I was watching, when she went up to the tower that was by us at the market, she was staring out at the Asphodel Cathedral, and I think I saw something in the bell tower that's there. So if we could go there and perhaps even check under the floorboards, see if these cloaks are within
try to find more
bell towers.
Yeah.
Or at least of abundance.
Yeah, we'll head to the Asphodel Square, and we'll check out the bell tower, see if we can find any more cloaks, and then I would like to head into Ryan's temple at least and do some research on these runes. Because they have to have something. I know they have so many books there. I haven't been in there quite a while, or specifically requested books on runes, but I know they have quite the collection.
Yes, we will just have to be careful how we present ourselves. I don't want rumors spreading.
We could just drop it, and then we don't have to be careful how we present ourselves. We can spend the time on processes and tasks that are actually important to us in our lives, rather than, some woman found dead who's currently being taken care of by some other people.
Yeah, but Renshaw, that's what you did this morning. You were just going about your daily life, and now you had two people staring you down at the ceremony. What if they're after you? What if you're next?
What if they're protecting me?
They're
just as likely.
Why would they be looking at you?
Oh, well, thanks.
But why would they're connected to this maroon cloak. And this maroon cloak is connected to the dead body that was adjacent and altered and left with the banner of your family.
Was that banner not destroyed?
That doesn't change the intentions of the people behind it.
I am curious what the rune said. It's not like I do have better things to do, but they're with my dad, so let's go, I guess.
Right. To Asphodel Square.
To Asphodel Square. you move down. So you come out of the Bitter Cottage, and you follow the Serpentine, that wide river that runs through the heart of Thalia. Walk the streets that are along its shores until you reach Asphodel Square. Asphodel Square is one of the three squares of the Enlightened within Thalia. Each square houses a cathedral to the Novem, the 9 Ascended of Aetherion, and as well as 4 other temples, 1 temple for each of the Ascended of Calidor. So you have the cathedral, you have the Temple of Ryan, the Temple of Amira, the Temple of Volsair, and the Temple of Everin, all within the same square. And then there's 3, not identical, but 3 sets of these squares throughout the city. You reach this one, an Asphodel Cathedral, Asphodel Square being the square within Darlington and of the nobles, is the largest of the squares with the largest cathedral in Thalia. It is a towering Gothic structure that, as we saw earlier today, can be seen from many points within the city. And you are within the square, it being the 23rd, this day, no large services are being conducted at this time or are coming in or letting out. However, there are people going into all 5 of these places of worship to conduct their own worship or smaller services that run occasionally throughout every day of the week. So there are some people moving around, but it's not packed or swarmed by any means.
Is the hot high priest around?
The hot high priest is not here right now. No, he's not.
Could have got a close up.
Would you guys like to go to the cathedral first, or the bookstore first? No, the bookstore. The Temple of Ryan.
I want to go to the bell tower. I don't know if that's actually in the church.
Absolutely. Yes.
Or...
The bell tower is connected to the actual cathedral of Asphodel. Excellent. As you guys walk up the long, dark staircase that leads to the big double doors of Asphodel Cathedral, Oriana, you know that despite being a part of the Enlightened, it has been a bit since you have last been in Asphodel Cathedral.
Mm-hmm.
As you walk up these stairs, I need Oriana to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. 3.
3. Excellent.
I rolled a 2.
Oh. These ladies are just rolling 2s today.
Jeez. Yeah, I got 2s as well.
As you are walking up the stairs and going through, for a few moments, the footsteps of the 3 of you walking up the stairs fades away. You can no longer hear the sounds of your companions. You can no longer hear the river, the Serpentine. You can no longer hear the distant roar of the Iron Falls. And it is just white noise buzzing in your head until you're able to snap out of it. And slowly, those footsteps return.
Oriana? Are you alright? Are you alright?
Yeah, I'm good. I haven't been here in a while.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sorry. I didn't even think about the science ship and all of that. If you want, we can try to skirt past some of this.
No, it's okay. We can go up to the bell tower. I'm just
Gonna try to avoid any familiar faces while we're here. But I'm
Of course, here, keep her head down, and I'll like try to adjust like some of her outfit to hide the green hair a little.
yeah.
Be like, no one has to know.
Yeah, so yeah.
Venture, up in front of her. No one will think you two are together.
Thank you, Eleanor.
I'll be okay. I just want to keep going out. We'll get to the top of the tower.
You make it into Asphodel Cathedral, and this cathedral is massive. It has huge vaulted ceilings. It has rows and rows of seats for its occupants. This is where the biggest ceremonies, the biggest weddings, even if a wedding they would do parts of the ceremony in the meadows or in the Fairchild Gardens or even beyond the wall. At some point, if you're a noble, you're in Asphodel Cathedral to be blessed by the Novem. It is a massive structure, and within it, with Thalia being particularly a city connected to Amira, is a huge statue of the Ascended herself within the hall of Asphodel Cathedral. Along with it, of course, are all of the statues of the Novem. All 9 of the original heroes placed throughout the place of worship. As you enter, you do not go into the main hall, but instead turn down a series of side hallways that Oriana is very familiar with to the bell tower. If the 3 of you could give me investigation or perception checks, your choice.
18.
18, excellent. Was that
12
perception or investigation?
That's perception.
Deal. How'd you
12
do?
perception.
12.
16 perception.
Perfect. All right. So you, all 3 of you, begin to look around as you enter the bell tower area. First, you start checking the floor panels. You do not find any loose floorboards. No maroon cloaks hung up. You begin to walk up the stairs. And as you go, you notice that there are scratches on the walls. Not on the stairs, but on the actual stone walls of the bell tower. As you're going up, you see these scratches. They continue to ascend as you go up and up higher until you get to the bell itself. And I will start with the most immediate thing that you guys see upon getting to the bell. You see scratch marks on the floor, the wooden floor at the top of the bell tower. You see scratch marks on the stone. You see some flicks of blood on the ground, as well as a slimy goo that can only send a shudder down Renshore's back, as you know exactly what this is.
It's Mel.
Mm-hmm. Eleanor, you do know, based on what Renshore told you and what you saw, the thing that you saw moving around in the bell tower looked easily twice as big as what Renshaw had described. You couldn't make out much, but for you to see anything moving, it would have to be quite large. And looking at the scratch marks on the wall, it looks like a large creature was here.
I think Nell was here.
Is that really what we're calling the depraved?
No.
Honestly,
Cannot be.
like, how rude would it be for
No.
him to, like, he told me his name.
Renshaw, I am positive that is not what he said to you.
Okay, were you bucking there, Eleanor? He said, my name's Nell. I called a beast. So maybe this is the beast that he called.
You just told us last night that he did not say, my name is.
He said something similar. They call me Nell. You may call me Nell. Please refer to me for all future tenses as Nell.
I'm glad you were able to have such a long and invigorating conversation with one of the depraved.
Did you get a chance to ask him why he's here in the city?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, I figured if he introduced himself.
It wasn't like a call response. It was this is my evil monologue, and then I ran.
In addition to the slime and the scratches and the blood, Eleanor and Oriana, you also take notice of the actual bell that is in here. And honestly, Eleanor picks up on this a little bit more than Oriana. One, because your perception was really good, and two, because you had just attended the ceremony of bells. You look on it, and unlike the last bell, which had like this beautiful depiction of like a merchant handing out like bread and toys and stuff, this bell has carvings. First off, it has words written along the bottom that are definitely not common words. Your best guess is that it's Old Etherean, language from very long ago, but you don't have anything to support that. You just know that they're like the letters that you recognize, but not words that you recognize. It's just a jumble of letters. And you see this inscription in Old Etherean, and on the bell there is engravings of these 3 warriors. Each one has similarities, but they're all slightly different. One of them has they're all in armor, but one of them has like goat horns on their head. One of them has antlers, and then one of them has more like kind of like tiefling horns on top, almost like a devil's horn. They each also brandish a axe in their hand, but each axe is different. One of them has like a big 2-handed axe. One of them has like they're holding it in one hand just off to the side. The shape of the axe is kind of different each time. But you see these like 3 warriors depicted on the on this bell.
And that's interesting because this bell is old, but it's not Old Etherean old.
Yeah.
Nothing in Calidor is Old Etherean old.
No.
That's true.
Well, I mean, except the Vermore Woods.
The woods are far older than
the city.
Than the Convergence. The woods are old. And as you say that, you look out from the bell tower, and even like this far back in the city, by the way that the hills roll, you can see in the distance that like deep part of the forest, just a green and black haze from here. but your eyes just are drawn to the Vermore.
Can I like investigate the blood splatters to see like which direction they're coming from? Is there like a pool and then they're all kind of splattered out from one spot, or is it moving in one direction? Like, where is the origin of the blood splatter coming? Like, why is it here?
Let me see an investigation check.
Oh, can I look up?
Yeah, you can look up.
PTSD.
You look up and you see a single glowing eye. No, I'm kidding. You see as you look up, there are scratch marks up at the very top of the bell tower, but there is nothing there now.
14 investigation on the blood.
14. You look around, you see the blood is it looks in some places splattered and then like individual drops that someone was cut and then bled after. You also see on the investigation check, you see a scorch mark on one of the walls as if there was like some sort of fire cast burnt some of the stone, like there's a scorch mark there. And yeah, looking at the blood without knowing what the blood of the depraved looks like, it looks like human blood or elvish blood or normal blood, not the blood of a monster. Not that you really know what runs through a depraved's veins, but looking at it, you're like, I've seen that before. It's red, it's irony, metallic.
But you said it was like slashed.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we are sticking to the theory that whatever is loose upon the city crawled out of Lucelle's mouth, and then hours later, Renshaw is met with a larger than mouth-sized creature, and then now, 12 hours later, I saw whatever was in here from the Emerald Market.
That's far.
Yeah.
Either there are multiple depraved crawling throughout the city,
Or he's just doubling in size
or this thing's growing rapidly.
every day.
Well, then it won't be that hard to find before too long.
Yeah.
Silver lining, y'all. Come on.
I don't know. Like, why would the depraved send out sounds into people's heads?
Well,
What could that goal be?
you said there's been a couple bell ceremonies in the past couple months. Is that something that happens every time?
Whenever the previous bell ceremonies have happened, there is like that weird feeling when they ring the bell. It's never been that bad, but there is like that like
There's always there's something
there,
with the bells.
there's something wrong with the bells when they get retired.
I mean, the bells are probably made using some form of magic, which is why they use some form of magic to break the bells. So, I mean, it would make sense that as they deteriorate, that magic isn't harnessed as well and affects us in a negative way.
Said like a true mage.
But I don't know how the bell it would be even related to the depraved.
I mean, if magic, other than that of the Ascended, draws them in, perhaps it was just a beacon. But
Then why was it
whatever was occurring, this cloaked individual knew to look. I mean, I can only assume that the maroon cloak, there is a witch in the city. If the witches communicate and control the depraved, and this figure knew to look into the bell tower, exactly when... I mean, yes, there was a murder at my house, but what happened here?
That's a good point. This looks loud.
All of the bells were ringing throughout the city.
And
What a
there was
perfect
no
cover.
blood, like, going down the stairs. There were just the scratch marks. Like, the blood is only contained up here.
There is only blood up here. And then the 16 with the all of your perceptions together, you're looking around, you see that the scratch marks, the way they dig in and then claw down, look as if a creature climbed up the bell tower, but there's nothing indicating that it like crawled down. However it got down, like it took the stairs, it walked peacefully, it leapt onto the roof. Maybe you were watching the bell tower, Eleanor, you didn't see this huge creature leap onto the roof, but it looks like it came up here quite hastily, and then however it got down was much more controlled or lenient. But
Maybe the depraved used the bells to teleport.
That's rather fanciful.
I'm more concerned that, I mean, considering that there's the goo here and the blood, I would think that there would also be another body of some sort.
Can I look around, like, off the edge? Like, over the railing around the whole place?
Yeah. Give me a perception check.
Nat 20.
Oh my god. You see on a nat 20.
Good job.
Damn.
We need that.
Tell me, what do I see?
We needed that.
We really, with all these twos, we really needed that.
You see...
What, you're looking down from the bell tower?
Yeah, I'm like looking over the edge, like over the railing, see if like someone jumped, see if someone fell. See if other people are looking up at us, wondering what we're doing.
You look around, you don't see people looking at you, you don't see any attention on you per se. What you absolutely notice on the nat 20, you remember the hands and the feet of that depraved that dropped down on you. As you look over the railing, on the rooftop, little drops of that slime and the little, like, those handprints, easily twice as big as the last time you saw them, are imprinted on the roof of the Asphodel Cathedral. Alongside the prints are prints of boots. Some person was running beside this depraved, or away from it. In addition, talking with your other two, the side that runs down and goes out is facing the north side of the city. So it leads vaguely towards the Maeve's Beacon where you just were. More particularly, it's going more towards like Grey Wall Castle or past. The footprints are moving in that direction. Eleanor, you would know if anything nearly that big or a person went down this side of the cathedral, you would 100% have been able to spot it in broad daylight.
Yeah.
And people nearby should have seen things like that. It was a big creature, and it came down a side, like even just from the bell tower, you can see the many people that can see this side of the tower. And without interviewing all the people that have gone through this square, You feel like somebody would have freaked out if they saw what Renshaw saw.
Yeah.
Can confirm, it is freaky.
It's freaky. Mel's a freaky guy.
It's freaky.
But on a nat 20, you spot both of those sets of prints.
Okay. Well, someone either ran from it or just kind of let it somewhere else. The blood makes me feel like he ran. But, open options.
Can I investigate the prints a little more to see, are they like, do they overlap each other a little bit, or are they clearly not overlap two separate paths?
When Renshaw points it out, going on his nat 20, they are two separate paths side by side.
That makes me think that they weren't running from each other.
Yeah, probably not. And who was bleeding?
Well, I mean, now we have a body almost. It makes more sense. There was a person here. We know that they left.
And the person stopped bleeding and just walked side by side with the monster?
There's two sets of tracks.
Or there was a third person.
I mean, we don't even know enough about the depraved in general. Could they trick someone? Or do they work? I mean, I know the witches sent them and have some sort of control. Would a witch be walking alongside the depraved? I mean, Oriana, have you learned anything? I know you're new to the order, but that is the primary duty.
Yeah, not too much about the depraved. I haven't really been on any like depraved cases or gone outside of the city to encounter any. I mean, I've been kind of more working on runic band more than archaic band stuff.
I don't know who, but well, actually, I am supposed to meet up with Ranger something.
Ranger Gore.
Yanis Gore.
Oh, I know him.
My papa has set me up with him.
Not really. I was kidding.
I was gonna play into it. I was like, yeah, you know this dude, absolutely.
Yeah, he's your best friend.
Yeah.
To potentially see a depraved.
Oh, that's... Well, it's exciting for you.
Well, of course, because I always wanted to draw one, but maybe we could use this to our advantage to learn more about them, to ask questions, and the rangers must know something. I mean, they've invested the entire woods.
Oh, yeah. Have fun. I'm not going.
Yeah, I mean, Enforcer Dayborn was planning on meeting with the Grimwatch as well to ask them more questions about these type of creatures and such. I don't know how much going out into the woods and leaving the city is going to benefit, for me at least, but I mean, the questions are certainly, that's a good place to start to ask.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you really considering going out into the woods?
If they take me. I mean...
Yeah, look at that smile on your face. You're so excited.
Well, I mean, just think of what it could do for my portfolio.
Like I said, great for you. I'm staying here.
Well, let's go to the temple. There's nothing more I can do here. It is odd.
Yeah. We know that it was here. We knew it's working kind of peacefully with a person or a witch. It's not here anymore. There were no cloaks here. I guess we can head down.
Perfect. You make your way down the staircase out of Asphodel Cathedral and make your way over to the Temple of Ryan, a collection of scrolls and books and all sorts of knowledge that is accumulated here for study and for practice and for worship of the Ascended Ryan. Individual services of Ryan, unlike some of the other practices, unlike the services of the Novem or maybe the Vignacci of Amira, works more like a enlightened run book club where they will have like their different, as you come to services, they will recommend a book or types of book. They'll read the book and then come weekly and discuss what they've learned and discuss how that can be applied to other subjects. And it's beyond just science, it's also like philosophy and psychology and a lot of topics. And there's also a lot of overlap with the Temple of Everin, which is a bit more on art and music, and they interlap a lot with that because of, you know, Everin's ability to take down knowledge and contain it in a way that can be expressed. But Temple of Ryan is lots of knowledge here. You enter in and you see there are many priests of the Enlightened, but specifically trained to be as worshippers of Ryan, helping curating books and helping people around. As you go through, I'll have each of you tell me kind of what you're looking for, and then we'll see what we can find for you guys. I'll start with Eleanor. What information are you looking for here?
I am trying to discreetly, I'm not as attached to the runic stuff, but just trying to see this as a place of information.
Sure.
I want to look into records for like historical events of anything that I can get about like what a Cinderfall would be.
Sure.
Or also looking out for that phrase / name of the Vestra. I can't read my handwriting for what that second word is.
Onus.
Excellent.
Onus.
Vestra. Perfect. Cool. Renshaw, what are you looking for?
I'm secretly very, very interested in what Eleanor is looking for. However, instead, I will look for something completely different.
You're all working together. You saw that she's got it covered, and you're like, all right, I'll split my time for sure.
Working out for me well. I'm going to look for a runic alphabet.
Yeah.
You know, a children's workbook for runic language.
For the band magic within the city, but...
Perfect. Yep. I love
This
it.
would be the place.
This would be the place.
Excellent.
Got a runic magic.
Oh, yeah. And
That's gotta be so awkward. Like the priest, like before the ban on runic magic, because that was only like 50 years ago.
yeah.
Like some fucking elf has been working here for like hundreds of years and has dedicated his life. Like he's not a mage, but he's like super into this god. And then all of a sudden it's like half of your shit gone.
Yeah, you're like, I've written 3 books on runes, and there's nothing I can do with it. I just nobody reads them anymore.
It was a bestseller. I made my life's work off of this. Now I'm poor because it got banned from the city and no one can buy it anymore.
Did the books get banned too?
No, so
Like, is there
technically,
censorship?
the ban is only on casting runic magic. You can learn about it. Owning a sphere is like if the museum probably has a sphere or two, and as part of Thalia Blacksbane's history, but like it's on display. They're clearly not using it. So to have it in your possession, you're like, why do you have a weapon of mass destruction on you? Like what? And so
It raises questions.
It raises questions, and so the actual crime is as soon as you've cast a spell, that is illegal.
I'm sure his sales would have gone down.
Yeah. Reading about runic magic, if you were like really getting in the weeds, probably puts you on like a list somewhere. The Ashen Order is like
somebody. Oriana learns your name.
This guy, one runic alphabet book, probably not. You're just doing some study. Priests check it out all the time because they're doing stuff. Getting real into the weeds, they're like, "What's this guy doing? What is he? Why does he need to know so much about the runes?" Excellent. Runic alphabet, Oriana. What are you looking for?
I apparently am going to be in the same like aisle that Renshaw is because I'm very specifically looking for how to read runic and not like I'm not looking for a book on runic magic or like how to use runes. Like I'm looking for like just like how to like directly like just translate like just on like the history of like runes itself, not like the magical aspect to it, just the writing aspect. And he already said he's looking for the alphabet, and I guess I am too. Yeah. That's exactly what I wanted.
Looks like it's you and me, Oriana.
Looks like it. Can't believe it.
Yeah, Eleanor. Well, actually, all three of you give me a intelligence check going through the library.
Nat 20.
Oh.
Woo! I'm smart.
Intelligence check. Ooh. I'm a smart fucker. 23.
Whoa. Good for you. I rolled an 11.
You don't even have a plus?
No, I have a plus. I rolled really low. And so
I was like, your intelligence is a 0.
No. I do get to add to it, but my total was 11. My roll was not great.
If you and Renshaw rolled a little closer, your hands definitely would have touched on the same book.
Darn it. I'll lower my number. I'll take the loss.
Renshaw, this is what happens. Renshaw, you find the book immediately, and then you just float by it until Oriana finds it, and then like, yeah, you almost guide her to it, make sure she feels like she found it, and then like as she goes to reach for it, both your hands touch as you go for the book. You both pull the tome Deciphering Runes by Alfred Goggins, and you have this nice book. It's pretty much just like a runic dictionary. It's not as comprehensive as Renshaw, you would know. It's not nearly as comprehensive as what you have back at your house, which is about like not just reading runes, but writing them, applying them, combining them together, like using them as a tool. This is very much like, this is A, this is B. These are the like again.
That's what I was looking for.
Exactly what you're looking for.
Who wrote the Tales of Ulan Wei?
The Tales of Ulan Wei, I will tell you, was written by. It wasn't the same person. If it was,
I was just gonna say, you can tell me if it wasn't Goggins. I'll save you the time.
No, it was.
The name just sounded really familiar.
I want to see if I accidentally came up with the exact same name twice. No, Gettybrook. But good call. Very good call. No, different person.
Is it a Lady Goggins?
Lady Goggins. Yeah, Alfred is a lady now. Lady Alfred Goggins.
Hey,
I love that. Perfect. Eleanor, I'm gonna pause because your nat 20 is so good. We have to cover you separately. The two of you find this book. You open it up. You sit down, and you said, Renshaw, what was your goal for the runic alphabet? Just to learn it, to go through and learn some stuff, or are you looking for information in particular?
I mean, I'm gonna try and pick up pieces as I go.
Yeah.
But really, I just want to see. I think Oriana and I have the same goal: seeing what
was
the
on the-
banner
Perfect.
said.
Excellent. You go through and you are flipping through these runes, piecing it together. Let me pull it up because I don't want to lead you wrong.
Mm-hmm. And I still have that piece of paper where I like copied exactly what I saw on the banner.
Yes.
And so I can just look at that and
Yes, you can.
copy it down.
Okay, cool.
Oh, good. I did not copy it down. I'm glad you did.
The runes that you copied down from the Tyrvald tree roughly translate to... Well, actually, so Renshaw, you would know based on the little bit of the book you found from your grandfather. The runes don't necessarily transfer letter to letter, but they also have like a letter equivalent. And so this is like from what you have read a little bit, kind of like a sloppy translation of runes. Like they just did like a 1-for-1 copy. But so there's nothing like magically in tune with what they wrote. But the symbols on the runes on the banner read the Cult of Cinderfall.
Be honest, that gave me nothing.
That's on the fake one?
That is on the
But certainly not on the real fucking
fake
one.
banner. That's correct.
Well, do you know what the real one says? Can you translate that? Eleanor's like peeking out of the shelves. What about your actual Tyrvald banner?
Yeah, do we know
I have no idea.
Do we know what his actual banner has runes on it?
Yeah.
Right?
It does.
Mhm.
I imagine it says just like Tyrvald family. I don't know. I never bothered to check it.
Check.
Check it. Yeah. Let me look in if you wrote anything down in Renshaw's Tyrvald. What has Jake made for his character?
Too much and not enough. It's a real awful seesaw here.
You just pick an area to focus on and you really develop that. And then it's like you do know your mom's name, but then like it's like this other like
This thing?
detail that my character would definitely know about themselves.
Haven't a clue.
Yeah, so you put
Actually,
runes
no.
on your family's
You know what it
banner
says?
and had no idea what you wrote.
I can tell you what it says. It says the runes on the original Tyrvald banner say protector of 1,000 woods.
Oh, right. I actually did know that.
Did you?
Hold on.
I'm joking.
1,000 woods sounds like 100 acres in my head.
The 100-acre
and
forest?
I
Oh,
just think that you like live in that land.
That's Winnie the Pooh, right? 1,000
Yeah.
acres?
Yeah, it is. It's AA Millie.
If we ever make it to Ethos Grove, I'm expecting to like see like a cute little
It better
bear
be cute
and
and
a little
fun.
pig.
Oh,
I'll be honest. I don't think you're gonna see that.
I'm gonna theme Ethra's.
What do you mean Tigger's not there?
I'm gonna theme Ethra's Grove as a horrifying Winnie the Pooh experience.
Lovely.
Excellent.
I love that for us.
I love
Great.
that.
But yes, I was aware of the title, Protector of 1,000 Woods.
Okay.
It's written right here.
Oh, sorry, that's probably not relevant.
Yes, this new one says the Cult of Cinderfall.
The Cult of Cinderfall.
Well, we knew Cinderfall was important. Hey, Eleanor, did you find anything on Cinderfall yet?
Working on it.
Eleanor,
Recorder.
on your nat 20, you go through. The first thing you find is Vestra Onus. You are able to find a book called Novum Service, A Guide to Old Etherean by the Guiding Flame Institute, which is the school that Oriana is from. And in it, it has some phrases in the Novem Service and how they are referenced to some Old Etherean. Like we say things this way because in Old Etherean, like this is how it's written or this is how it's done. And in that, you find the phrase Vestra Onis, which is it's a charge. It means like this is your responsibility. But it's the way it is written, at least in this religious sense, is it's more than just saying like, hey, this is your job. It's the same way a knight takes an oath to protect their king. It's to say like, this is your job. This is your responsibility. We charge you with this right. And so you read on a nat 20, you're able to read that like Vestra Onus, in charging somebody with a Vestra Onus it's more powerful than just words. To do so is almost equivalent to casting like a spell or like charming somebody. There's a degree in just speaking the words that compels somebody to do it. And it's not quite akin to magic, but there's more to it. There is magic in the words Vestra Onus that compels people to do what the charge is.
Okay.
Yes. And so the two times that you've seen that is somebody had powerfully compelled Lucille Squatchins. And
have I seen it twice? I thought the second time was Renshaw.
Yes, you've only seen it once in the letter from Lucille, or to Lucille. And Renshaw, you have seen it once, a charge from your grandsire, not necessarily to you, but also to you, the reader. And so you were...
Well, it worked.
Yeah. As you look for Cinderfall is incredibly hard to find. You go through a lot of different avenues. You're not able to find anything on it at all. Until finally, you reach out. Would you be willing to reach out to like one of the priests that work here and see if they know anything to point you in the right direction? You would know of the place not to be judged for knowledge. This would be the place. But if you don't want to let anybody know, you don't have to.
I think I would, but I would bring it up in a way of like listing a bunch of different like mythical events that I know about, like kind of like as if like a real life person would be like, oh, have you heard of like Ragnarok or like something like, you know what
Absolutely.
I mean, like listing a bunch of shit off and just having that kind of included in there.
Yeah, absolutely. You reach out to them, list these things. They go, oh, yes, as a matter of fact, I do know. I don't know of Cinderfall, but what you seem to be describing, we have a book. It is in the restricted section, but Count Eleanor, of course, you're welcome to it.
Not very restricted.
It is on the second floor. It is called Moorish Myths by Priest Gallum Stillo. She's like, actually, the only reason that I know about it is somebody actually just checked it out. They're still here, but they actually I just fetched that book for somebody a minute ago.
Who?
And she goes, yeah, they gave me, actually they didn't give me a name.
Odd.
Did I?
You lent
Yes,
a book from the restricted section.
Oh, yes, that They. One moment. I will be back. And she kind of like is confused and leaves real quick. And you see in the direction that she pointed, on the second floor of the temple, there is a woman sitting by within a few bookshelves. She's at a table and she's got a bunch of books laid out in front of her, and she's just kind of going through stuff.
Do I recognize her?
You do not. She has jet black hair.
Okay. I would like to go up to her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you dragging
As
the
I'm
rest
like
of us
kind
with
of
you?
creeping. Oh,
Are you dragging the rest of us with you, or are we still learning runes?
Up to you. It took long enough to find Cinderfall that you guys probably would be done with runes if you would like to take them with you. But also, if you want to do it solo, you don't have to.
I think I'm just gonna ping their attention because I don't want to overwhelm this girl, but I'm gonna kind of like let them know that like I think there's something upstairs.
Yeah.
That way.
I'll keep my
can kind
attention
of-
on her as she walks up the stairs and just kind of watch her up there. But I won't follow. But my attention is that way.
Mm-hmm. Do I see like just a quick glance reading as I'm like kind of swooping in to speak to this woman, the Moorish book that I'm looking for, like on her table?
Yeah, yep. She's got it out.
Okay.
It's actually the one that
She's definitely got it.
she's got it. You see as you approach her, she's an elvish woman. She is engrossed with these books in front of her. You notice that she's wearing very fine clothes. She's got like a black fur scarf around her neck. But despite her clothes and her like elvish youthfulness, she looks tired. Her hair is a little disheveled. She's got deep bags under her eyes. She looked like Renshaw when he first woke up in the morning. Like she's a little out of it, but her clothes are very nice. And you see she's at this table and she's going through these books, searching for something.
I'll just come up. Why, hello there. My name's Eleanor.
Oh, yes. Count Quillen.
Can I sit?
Yeah, absolutely.
As I look.
Yes, sure.
I was just speaking with one of the priests and was looking for a book, and it turns out that you are currently reading with it. What you looking at?
Oh, that is such a coincidence. What do you want this book for?
Oh, I just have been looking into fairy tales lately. What's your name?
May.
No one's answered a goddamn question.
May, it's such a pleasure to meet you. I will level with you. I've been hoping to see one of the depraved, to draw them and add it to my artist collection. I know it's a bit odd of a fancy, but they're so unique to this area. What's in the book?
Legends of things that most people prefer to stay away from.
I mean, legends are legends, but
some come from truth.
of course, I know that there's a gruesome history tied to this all, and I make no offense of my interest.
Of course. If I give you this book, will you give me any trouble leaving?
No, you take your time. I just was interested to see another person involved.
He goes, yes, that is interesting. Count Quillen. I hope you find what you're looking for. And she flips 2 pages back. She rips a page out of this book. Rips it up, folds it up, puts it in her coat, and then pushes the book towards you. And as
Ma'am, that could not have been allowed within the procedures. I cannot simply stand by and watch this. And I'm gonna call for the priest. There's been a ripping of the
there's been a
pages.
ripping.
I am not chill about this
You're
at
not
all.
okay.
No.
She goes, "What of your word, Miss Quillen?" And then you see that
I said leave the book. I didn't say you could break an artifact.
and the book is here. As she sees the two of the priests are coming up, and at this point, Oriana and Renshaw, you both hear Eleanor call for the priests, and you see this kind of confrontation with this woman.
As they're coming up, as they're running, and she says, like, what of your word? I want to be like, I don't know what you think is going on here, or your privacy into looking into this. How did you get into this restricted section?
She is going to put both hands on the table, kind of lean in, and then just say, "I asked nicely, and I need you to make a constant charisma saving throw."
Oh, fuck yeah.
A fucking 2!
Oh.
Oh no!
But wait, hold on.
No.
I don't think I can get it high enough.
That's fine. Renshaw and Oriana, are you guys responding to this at all, or are you you can see?
I'm attentive.
I'm attentive. I think if we were sitting down, I'm now standing up, but I am not running to the stairs. I'm not trying to make a commotion. I can kind of hear Eleanor. I feel like she's loud enough that I can kind of hear that she's not in trouble to call the priest, but something is going on enough for me to stand up and get ready. But I am trying not to, make a scene.
Make a scene, sure.
I'm just patiently waiting.
There is a legend that I am looking for in this book, and I'm just very nervous it's also on that page.
That's a 9.
A 9. Cool. You feel a wave of magic kind of roll over you as a light flashes deep in her eyes. And she says to you, "If I were you, I would be a lot more worried about the people that followed you into this temple than I would about a page ripped from a book." And she's gonna nod her head backwards, and with her bring attention to it, the two gentlemen that rolled stupid high entering the Temple of Ryan are standing a couple bookshelves away from where Renshaw and Oriana are sitting. And then you see it's the two gentlemen that were staring at Renshaw. They are still looking at Renshaw, and with them is a dwarvish woman flipping through a book frantically next to them.
We don't see them, right?
No, so far it's just
yeah, it's just me.
Do you want to do anything in this moment before the next moment happens?
Well, that sounded like a threat.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say to her, "I hope to see you again, May." And then I'm gonna try to pick up the book and go down to where the the guards are. I'm just gonna say to the high priest and be like,
Kill her. Yeah.
oh, no, I'm just gonna be like, oh, sorry, it was simply a misunderstanding.
Okay. Deal.
And I'll cover for her a bit because she drew attention to something that I care a little bit more about.
Deal.
I told you.
Even though I don't know what she cast upon me.
They just might be really into me. They might not be dangerous at all.
As you begin to move down the stairs and past these priests and down the stairs, you see one of the priests, the two of them, she again approaches May again and begins to like question her about how she got the book in the first place, because that was strange. And you can't quite hear what's happening, but you can hear May being pretty cold to this priest.
Can I see her lips moving?
Yeah, you can see her lips moving. Without me role playing with myself, she's asking May what she's doing, and May is just giving her nothing. Like, she is being super cold. Yeah. She actually, with your passive insight, she is acting as if she has a status much higher than these priests. Like, she's not necessarily like being demeaning with her words, but her body language and her presence here is like, you're beneath me. You don't get to tell me what to do. If I want a book, I'm going to take a book. Like, if I want to rip a page out of a book, I'm going to rip a page out of a book. Yeah. As you move down the stairs, you see one of those the dwarves flipping through the book. You can read lips. So she sees you, goes, shit, flips a couple more pages, like gives a big sigh, and then speaks. Actually, before she speaks, she will pull out a small, like, amber and black orb from her cloak, whisper something into it, and then toss the book onto the ground in front of them. Immediately, the pages of the book start to flip rapidly, and as they flip, you can see the sunlight pouring into the windows, draws back towards the walls, slips out, and as if like it had immediately turned nighttime outside, all the light flooding in to the Temple of Ryan is extinguished. There are a handful of candles that are in here, but usually you don't have a candles lit during the middle of the day. So the light is extinguished from the temple. The only things remaining are a few candles in those corners, casting long, drawn-out shadows of bookshelves and books on across the floor and across the table. And the last thing that you can see before these three people are covered in darkness is these two men reach into their coats and each draw out a silver dagger, and then darkness falls on the Temple of Ryan.
I scream Renshaw.
This Renshaw's name is screamed out, and that is where we'll end tonight's session of Shadows.
Dude, why do you want to die?
Me? Why does the DM want to kill me?
What are you doing?
Why are you the target here? You did something.
I didn't do jack.
I didn't do shit.
Shit.
You had to do something, I'm sure.
I didn't even get to do anything I wanted to do. There's like multiple words I wanted to look up in these books.
You gotta survive first, bitch.
I always gotta survive
No,
first. I never
survive
get to
first.
Always gotta survive.
It's almost like it's a dark Gothic horror campaign or something. Why is this spooky combat interrupting all of my studying?
Why can't they just
I just wanted to go home.
Jake, I will say not just this session, but when we were building characters, because your build was like, I don't want to be a part of it, I just have to go home. The only way I could tie Renshaw in is by like, I have to constantly be after this man. And the only thing that's gonna keep this man from going back to bed is if I'm trying to kill him. At least Oriana and Eleanor will keep themselves busy. I gotta keep Renshaw on his toes. Sorry, bud, but you're definitely being targeted. 100%.
Okay, we're gonna roll to see how this combat goes next session.
Oh, good.
Yes, it will be.
Oh, good for me or good for you?
Good for me.
Oh, good.
Actually, I didn't take that into account before rolling, so I'm just gonna assume it's me.
It's probably good for you. You rolled it. Man, 2 nat 20s
One way or another.
tonight.
2 nat 20s and several 2s.
Seven.
Several twos. Yeah.
Alone, I rolled at least like 3, which considering there's no combat, and so we really weren't rolling that
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. You rolled several 2s, and then my first roll of
You
the
did.
session tonight, 2. Like,
Yeah.
You were not supposed to meet May here, because you should not have been able to find Cinderfall in the Temple of Ryan. But with a nat 20, like that's more something that you'd find in either like the Trove or the what's the other bookstore? The library, the Sophos Librum.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, on a nat 20, I was like, they would have a copy of War
Yeah.
Smiths here, and they would be there. To rip her page out.
Wild.
I was like, I love the idea when I wrote it. I was like, there's gonna be nothing more jarring than somebody ripping a page out of a book. Like, could you imagine being
Like,
at a library?
In the Temple of Ryan.
Yeah, could you imagine?
Like, she's like, hey, if I just leave you the book, can I leave? And I'm like, absolutely. And then she's like, but first, I'm going to commit a
I'm gonna
I'm
felony.
gonna commit an atrocity right here.
I
To be fair, like, you should have seen that coming. She was like, I'm obviously going to create an issue, me walking out of here. Will you let me go? And you were like,
I
yeah.
thought she just wanted secrecy to leave. I was like,
No.
sure,
She wanted the full ability to commit a felony and you not say shit.
she said, you're not gonna, don't
You
be
did it.
mad.
and then you said
Promise me you're not
something.
gonna be mad.
Yeah, it was promising you won't be
Promise
mad.
me you won't be mad.
And I was like, yeah, of course I'm going to be
Yeah,
mad.
I'm gonna be mad. Yeah, I was like, even if this wasn't a horror campaign, if you went to the library, like if you weren't even talking to somebody, you saw someone flipping a book and just went and just ripped a page out, like you're like, whoa, I need to know. Like, you better have a great reason for that. The sound is really
Honestly-
jarring in my mind.
Honestly, so earlier, I got like goosebumps on my arm. The page ripping out, probably the scariest thing that's been in this campaign so far. The biggest affront to
The
mankind.
biggest friend. That is a crime. Can you arrest her for this? Like, I don't know what you guys can do, but there has to
It's
be
just-
something.
It's
I
too real.
literally was
It's
like,
too real.
Please, come.
It's too real. There's monsters, there's magic, and they're like, no. There's something so real. Oh,
It's just like I'm picturing like the thick, like
yeah, she pulled on that.
thick like paper that they use. Like it's obviously like hand bound, very old, and she just went
She
boop.
ripped it.
It's like, oh, grates on my soul. I can smell it. I can hear it.
Yeah, the irreverence is insane. Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence kind of vibes.
At least he didn't rip it. Like, if he just. Oh. Yeah, it's fun.
John, you want to say the outro?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I just got so caught up. Yep. And with that, we'll end tonight's session. Tune in next time to see what happens in the Temple of Ryan. If these cultists are managed to plunge their daggers in the hearts of these highborn, or if our highborn can escape with their lives once again. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you tune in for the next one to see what happens to our wonderful highborn. Make sure you like and subscribe so you know when our next episode comes out. Until we meet again over another round at the Four Rings Inn.
Woo!